it's going to be considered irresponsible to drive a vehicle, say 40 years from now. Very bullish. I think there are all sorts of reasons to be excited about the adoption of EVs and the commercialization of EVs in the US. One, Tesla, right? Nobody expected this kind of growth for Tesla, and obviously they've kind of blazed the trail. But now you're seeing all the incumbent auto manufacturers do the same. They're rapidly mobilizing their production fleets to basically be exclusively electric. So to some extent, the consumer isn't going to have that much of a choice. It's going to be a very antiquated thing to buy a combustion engine to drive around if you're buying a new car, I think even like 2-3 years out. I'm bullish, not necessarily on catching up and surpassing, but I'm bullish in their ability to transform their company to being kind of EV first. Clearly they were slow and they were late and they didn't pick up on the secular trends that Tesla was way ahead of. But with that said, Ford's a fantastic business that has been innovative for a very long period of time. They do now identify this trend. There's all sorts of reasons consumers want this, regulators want this. I think Ford will catch up. I think it's unfortunate that it just took them so long to figure it out, but I'm optimistic on being able to drive a Ford F-150 electric 2 years out. So bearish on vehicle ownership. Personally, I grew up in New York City, so I grew up without a car. So I've always kind of been bearish on owning a car or even driving. I think the notion of owning a car is going to seem as foreign to us 20, 30 years from now as like owning an elevator. I know that sounds weird, but it's kind of an arbitrary form of transportation that I don't know why you would want to own. Now, with self-driving cars and with to some extent like Uber and Lyft being like a canary in the coal mine in terms of what's possible, you really don't need to own a car in a city like New York or Los Angeles anymore. I think the merits of just like having transportation as a service is going to become obvious to a lot of people, notwithstanding all the costs and all the liability that comes with driving. So I think vehicle ownership really hit a high watermark probably like 10 years ago and is going to be on a perpetual decline. I actually think we're going to end up in an environment where it's going to be considered irresponsible to drive a vehicle, say 40 years from now. And the right to drive is going to be actually very topical debate because we're going to know that humans are less safe drivers than machines, but people are going to be very reluctant to hold on to this vestige of like true Americana, like, being able to own our car and being able to have that kind of automotive independence. So I think that will come under threat in the same way that many things have come under threat as technology has built just better, safer, more accessible solutions for people.